Hello everyone, and welcome back to more DC molding. Today we're going to be covering Horo, the magic boss of the season, and we're going to be taking a look at how she's vastly different from last season's Dreadlord actually. Because if you may recall, Dreadlord had Dreadlord himself, the boss, and a ton of elites. Horo is featuring the opposite of that. We have Horo herself, and we have a ton of ads. Now, when we're dealing with elites as we were in Dreadlord, we can usually get by just having a strong single target damage dealer, such as Luvia. However, sinners like you, Luvia, are really not ideal for dealing with ads. She can do it, she has a Luvia form. However, once we start having the ads come in, together with the boss, we're starting to have to prioritize what we're dealing with. And that's a big weakness of Luvia, is that she cannot do both things at once. So in this case, where Horo spawns alongside the ads, we have a massive problem with her. Now, in this case, we do want to pair her up then with something that can handle the waves. And I'm just marking off here the hitboxes and routes of the mobs in the stage. And we can see that something really interesting starts appearing. We have overlap squares. We do like these. And we can actually all further notice that if we let the boss move a bit more forward, we can actually get Horo into the range as well. So what does this tell us? Well, it tells us that being able to control, I would say, have some sort of tile control on these two squares, or these two, is hugely important. However, you can also add in something like the Serpent next to the Crown Brand, and actually have her deal with the entire area. Similarly, something like Stargazer Orb here, maybe a Kelvin ultimate. A lot of options here. For this video, I'm going to be showcasing Akase, Serpent, and someone whom I'm actually fairly excited to be showing off, Joan. Joan is a B-rank sinner, and she specializes in doing AoE damage. Now, this boss has a lot of ads spawning, and she gets great value from Exos of Grandbrand, which allows us to deal even more damage once units that has her debuff die. So we're going to be seeing definitely how we're going to be abusing her. Now, as I mentioned, Horo is going to be spawning alongside the ads. Horo has herself 5 cores, and she's the only thing that we can break in this stage. The Hamels do not have cores. It's a big problem. So, in order to really showcase Joan's power, I think, and some of the requirements of the stage, I'm going to be showing the minimal compositions as we usually do. In this case, we will need a wave clearer. Let me shorten this for you. We need a dedicated boss killer. And we need our utility. Utility naturally includes any core breaks and or amp for our dedicated boss killer and our wave clearer. Now, this is a case where I'm going to be using Joan as both of these things. She's going to be carrying Embrace, and we're basically going to be utilizing her insanely high chain reaction damage on our Exotic Crown Brand to deal with both the waves and the boss. For my utility, I'm going to be using the standard things that everyone has available. Stuff like Hikate, Che, and Labby. You should all be very familiar with these three. And of course my Joan. Alright, so let's see how this composition can handle basically this entire stage just through Joan's insane damage output. Alright, so before we really get into the clip, I want to take a quick moment to just go through our starting positions, our crown brands, and some of the ideas that we're going to be seeing here. First of all, we naturally we get a bit of different color. Have Embrace on our Joan. This is what we talked about. It's going to allow her to be the dedicated boss killer. In addition to our main wave clearer, our Hikate has Nightmare. And our Che is running Tuning and Hope. And no third slot. Normally I would record her here, but I'm trying to put as many restrictions on as possible to allow you guys to follow along. Labby's running Justice, and again, no third slot. Now, the next thing that we might talk about is why is my position like it is? Joan is completely isolated from the rest of the team. This is because in the first wave, we'll see Slime spawn here and a Brute spawn here. the slimes are worth more for Joan, given that there are more bodies. And more bodies means more triggers of the exclusive crime brand. So, the main job here of Jen and Labby, and Hikasa for that matter, is not to kill the slimes, it's to delay them. Labby's placed here mostly also because I want to maximize the amount of energy she's going to be gaining from hitting the slimes. But ultimately, the end goal will be to get the slimes in these two positions. If you recall, we talked about how those two positions are critical, because the hammer will be spawning as such. And if we can let Horo move forward, everything will be nicely placed in this tile. So, I'm going to keep this up so people can follow along. Notice how the Labby is gaining a ton of energy from this. We basically use Chi as soon as possible, since we're going to be needing his ultimate for a second time, most likely. I'm going to place him in a position where he actually gets to attack. And now this slime follows this Horo nicely. And with the hammer spawning, all of this is within the range of Joan. And she clears all of it. Same concept will apply to the top range now. We have Chi to hold off this. Slow it down. Cast this up again. Get ready to break. As such. This is where the no corridor kind of hurts me, right? Normally I would be able to cast the first ultimate a bit quicker, which would allow Chi to be up by now. We see the same concept. The hammer here is sharing the hitbox with these slimes. And now we just wait for this brute as well to hit this point. And this slime to hit this point. Because then Joan's beautiful coverage can really get a lot of value. Everything within this area is controlled by Joan. So let's see how much damage it's going to deal. Wait for Chi to come up. Proc the last stand. And goodbye, Horo. That's basically how you play Joan here. You just make sure you have as many bodies as possible, and then you ulti, and let her shoot the ground and do the work. Beautiful 90% damage dealt to top it off. Alright, so we established how Joan is absolutely busted for this stage, because she can function as the wave clearer and a dedicated boss killer. Now we can still do a more traditional attempt, which is to have split roles, in the case of Luvia being our dedicated boss killer, and having Serpent be our main wave clearer. Now I'm not just going to be using Luvia as the boss killer. These hammers are incredibly hard to deal with and can be incredibly tanky. So she's also going to be assisting in that endeavor. However, the main point is just that she's going to be a really high single target damage dealer. Is going to be focusing on the high priority target, which is the boss and the hammer. Alright. The CBs are basically not changed from the last run. In this case, Serpent is running completely without anything, because she is very strong. So yeah, this is a no CB Serpent, however she is 9979 on her skill levels. She might still be dealing quite a bit of damage. Now in this case I'm less concerned with the slimes living, because Serpent doesn't need to doesn't get any value from him dying at a specific timing. Here we see how the Luvia is simply just focusing on the Horo and the ammo. Now we place Serpent in a position where she can do the wave clearing. There's not really much to say here, it's fairly standard, all of it. A bit more animation cancelling to kill Horo off. And we wait for a Serpent spin to finish the job. There you go. Nothing too much to say there. Fairly straightforward run. Now, I know a lot of people really like saying that Serpent is incredibly busted and all that, so I'm also going to be showing it with Bekasi, and I'm going to do it in a way that will hopefully reflect how you could employ the strategies and the talking points that I've had so far into your own runs. So let's say you had the Bekasi and you didn't have Serpent. Well, if you have Enfer still and you have Ovo and you have Hamel, you can still make it work, right? Because it's the exact same concept being applied here, right? We're stalling the slimes because Bekasi is getting value from it. And we're just letting Luvia completely focus on boss killing. In this case, I do want to have a bit of fun, so I am hyper-buffing my Bekasi. But yeah, I hope the concept is still well illustrated here. Luvia is starting to hit the slime, so we're going to be moving her. Now at this point, I'm noticing that my Bekasi is dealing crazy amounts of damage. So I'm pretty sure I can just let it, like, not touch anything here after I break, and actually clear the stage. And as I suspected, that exactly did happen. My Bekasi is dealing huge amounts of damage here thanks to the Ovo, Hamel, and Enfer supporting her. Alright, I think that's going to be it for the Horo guide then. Last time people did ask me if I could upload my Highscore Run as well, and I didn't actually record my Highscore Run for this one. However, I did go back and I basically made a rough run that should basically simulate the main aspects of it. I actually hope that you'll look at this one and you can see some of the concept that we spoke about earlier. So just delaying the slimes here to allow us to get more value. Something like Bekasi. In this case also Irene. Serpent is still on wave clearing duty here. Same with Joan. She's going to get a nicely and high value ultimate. Now, I believe last time I did get a couple of Serpent spins in a row here, which is basically what makes the difference. As you can see, as soon as she spins, we do get the clear. So yeah, I hope that helps someone out there. But yeah, that's going to be it for this one, guys. Thank you for watching.